Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're having a great day. Hey, my name is Brian, and this is Audubon Investing. Thanks for checking it out. We have a lot to talk about today. About an hour ago, Tesla just announced that they're investing $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. The price is exploding, new all-time high this morning. That's taken the altcoin market with it. And as you know from last week, I talked about Ethereum breaking out. So that's great for Ethereum. I'm really psyched about what the future like this week looks like for Virgin Galactic. We're going to talk about that, GameStop a little bit, BlackBerry a little bit, and some other things I'm watching to get in this week. So with that, let's jump right in. Okay, so let's start off with cryptocurrency. Last week, I talked about the breakout in Ethereum, and it did. It broke out about a week ago today, hit a high, at least on Crypto Watch, of 1,700 and just shy of $64, and it retraced a little bit from there back to about the $1,500 level. And this morning, it's looking like it's wanting to go test that 1,800 mark. As you probably know by now, Elon Musk had a major announcement. Tesla had a major announcement, twofold. One is they've invested $1.5 billion of their cash into Bitcoin, which significantly moved Bitcoin to an all-time high this morning, as well as here in the near future, they will be accepting Bitcoin as payment for new Teslas. Huge news, huge vote of confidence for Bitcoin, but also in general for the cryptocurrency market in general. Now, Ethereum being the big dog in the altcoin market has moved significantly on that news and is now at about 1,710, looking like it's going to want to go higher this morning with added volume of 35,000 coins being traded this morning over the last, what this is a 4-hour chart. So certainly something to watch. The story around crypto is just beginning. This breakout, whether or not it happens now to an all-time high in Ethereum or later, is anybody's guess. But this is significant news from Tesla and from Elon Musk. He's been telegraphing it a little bit as of late with adding Bitcoin to his Twitter profile. Certainly what this means for Dogecoin and his comments on Twitter around that is anybody's guess. I don't know, but look, I'm long Ethereum and I'm hodling it, and I think this moves significantly higher in February. At least that's what the technical analysis states. From there, if you've been watching this channel, you know I've been a big proponent of Virgin Galactic. And I think as we sit here this morning, it looks to me, from a technical analysis perspective, that it's setting up for a significant move this week. Starting tomorrow is what it's really looking like. Now, it hit a high just shy of 60 on the 27th of January. It retraced all the way back down to the $40 level, 50% move down, which clearly shook a lot of people out. Moved up to the 50, retraced back down to about the 45. Just notice here the higher lows while maintaining that high point around the $58 mark. It's tested that a couple times. It broke above that last week on the 4th. I think that was Thursday. It broke above that. It opened above that. Ran above that over 60 and retraced back down from there. It did break what I think is the bottom trend line here on Friday, but managed to close just above it. It's up a good almost 3% this morning in the pre-market. I would not be surprised to see significant news here between today and tomorrow. This trend line, not to say that there's manipulation going on, right? But this trend line is certainly pointing to, between today and tomorrow, a move one way or the other in Virgin Galactic, be it up above the $58 mark in on volume, or below that trend line. It's anybody's guess really which way it goes. I'm playing it and have been playing it for on the long side for a while now. I think the momentum is certainly here. The sellers seem to be drying up. And so whether or not, there's news that comes out tomorrow that moves this significantly higher, but I am looking for a short term this week move above 58 to around the $65 mark. Now, does it go straight up? Probably not. Does it go up 62, 63 and retest that 58, bounce on that line a couple times before shooting higher next week? It's anybody's guess. But if that $58 mark is broken on strength, what has been over the last 2 weeks at least forming resistance will quickly become support. So that's what I'm watching for on Virgin Galactic. I think there's a lot of catalysts in this name that can move this stock one way or the other here in this quarter, be it the test flight that's now got the window for the second half of February, to Richard Branson going up on one of these is going to be a significant news event. Will it be enough to move this what's already tripled in the last 6 months stock, or will it just grind higher or flatline here in base for a while? Anybody's guess, but I think the future is very bright for Virgin Galactic, and it's a name that I'm certainly long in and have been for some time, and will continue to hold that. Now I want to talk about what I'm playing for this week. And more on a speculative basis. First of all, BlackBerry. BlackBerry had a nice run with the, what's being deemed as the Robin Hood short selling crowd. But look, BlackBerry, was a high flyer a decade ago, but has really been doing a lot to reshape their business. And this move has started, at the latter half of 2020 into January, and is grinding higher. Now, the Robinhood crowd might have gotten a hold of it and took it to a whole new level, but you can't argue that from a turnaround perspective, BlackBerry is really doing the right thing. Now, from a technical perspective, over the last, let's say second half of last week, this is the 4-hour chart. It formed a nice support around the 1150 area, which coincidentally is about the 50-day moving average today. It's up again almost 5% in pre-market today, but there is a gap just under 15 to about the 1350, 1375 level. Like, looking like today that gap wants to be filled. Now, a break above that could move this significantly higher. There is a significant gap up from the 28th or so of January to the 29th, when it gapped down under $20 to open. It tried to fill some of that gap that day, trading up to around the $23 mark, trading as low as around the $13.50 mark, settling in just over $16 or so a share on the 29th, but left a gap up there around the $24 mark that at some point is going to need to be filled. So I'm playing that on the option side, on the call side, over the next 2 to 3 week time period to see if that gap is filled. It's a much lower stop below the 50-day moving average than I'd like at 1150. So I might play that maybe around the 1250 stop price, especially given the fact that it's up so nicely this morning in pre-market. But it is a name that that looks like, at least from a technical perspective, that it wants to bounce higher this week. Next up is Westwater Resources. Westwater had a significant climb on around the 16th, 17th of January, almost a 50% move on that day on nice high volume. And it found resistance around the $8.25 mark, and it retraced some of that gain down to around the $6 mark or so, maybe $6.50 a couple days later. And since then, it's been grinding higher. And then on Friday of this past week, it closed up about the $9 mark, trading as high as almost $9.50. By the way, the highest volume it had in over a week by almost double. This is a name that looks like it wants to go significantly higher. And if you zoom out, you can see back in the October time frame, this thing shot up real nice from 250 to 1250 in a matter of days. And who knows? I'm playing this at least with part of my holdings. I'm going to grab some of this morning. My stop is going, whoops, wrong way there. My stop will be around that 825 mark. I'm looking for a 1250 handle on this in this week. If it does that quickly and on volume, I might sell half of my position at that point, and see what happens next. Because if it breaks on volume that 1250 mark, then we're in price discovery. And boy, I like price discovery. You can't say a bad thing when one of your holdings go into price discovery. Next, I've traded around this a little bit over the last couple months. Inovio Pharmaceuticals, it's certainly a COVID play. It hasn't gotten the attention and love, and probably for good reason, that Moderna and Pfizer and some of those other names have gotten. It's up fractionally in pre-market, but it's at or near support right now of around 1280, 1275. That support going back to the December-November timeframe. Well, ultimately, the gap that occurred in the end of September. It did close that gap already last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. It fell down again, retracing good 40% of its gain. However, it's looking right now, again, it found that old resistance mark that has now become support. So I'm going to be buying into that position this morning. And lastly, I've got on the agenda here is TLRY. Cannabis, there's a lot of talk right now about Congress taking this up and looking at it as a legalization kind of move. You cannot argue with the tax revenue that California has received since legalizing marijuana, and other states are going to want to get in on that action. And quite frankly, the federal government might need to if they keep pumping out stimulus like they're doing. And California has certainly received a lot of tax revenues. One estimate I saw last week was $1 billion so far that California has received in tax revenue just off of cannabis. So look, this is not to argue the morality of this one way or the other. I'm just saying from a stock perspective, from a TA perspective, this thing flew to over $100 in 2019, and it retraced a heck of a lot of that from 100 all the way down into the single digits it hit in late 2020. The volume, though, started coming in around the October-November timeframe, and it hasn't stopped. And now it's broken that what was that resistance mark. Now that resistance mark is significantly lower. That's about 25% below where the price of the stock is today. So from a stop perspective, under that resistance mark, you're significantly risking quite a bit. But if you look at just the 5-day here, we've exploded up on the 3rd, gapped up. It closed that gap on the 4th, and now is just basing. So look, I've got a short-term stop around the 25.50 mark, and I'm looking for it to break this high from the 3rd of the 28.5 mark. If it does that, then we're back off to the races. And I'll play that with options as well. So that's what I'm looking for this week. Remember, I am not a financial advisor. I'm a dude with a computer that just loves talking about this stuff. Big fan of making money. But do your own research and don't buy or sell anything just because I talked about it here. That would be, well, quite frankly, that would not be smart. But if you are learning something and do enjoy what I'm talking about and wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, that would be awesome. I would greatly appreciate that. Feel free to like or comment because that certainly helps the YouTube algorithms as well. I really appreciate you. Good luck today. Good luck this week. And we'll talk again soon. Have a great day.